Never forget your parents. George was born in a small, humble village. His parents, Bella and Stiffer, were hardworking but poor. Peter was a dedicated carpenter, spending long, grueling days in his workshop, while Martha sold vegetables at the bustling market. Despite their struggles, they ensured George had a decent education and a warm, supportive home. From an early age, George was brimming with ambition. He often declared, "One day, I'll be rich and famous, and I'll take care of you both." His parents would smile, their hearts swelling with pride. They worked tirelessly to nurture his dreams, often sacrificing their own needs. Stiffer stayed up late repairing furniture to afford George's books, while Bella skipped meals to save money for his school fees. When George turned 18, he received a scholarship to study engineering in the city. The moment was bittersweet for the family. At the bus station, Bella held him tightly, her voice trembling as she whispered, "No matter where life takes you, George, don't forget your roots." George nodded, his eyes glistening, and promised to visit often, but the bustling city had its own rhythm. College was demanding, and after graduating, George secured a prestigious job. His talent and dedication quickly propelled him to become one of the youngest CEOs in the country. With success came wealth, luxurious apartments, world travel, and connections with influential people. Gradually, his visits to the village became rare. Phone calls to his parents were hurried, brief, and far between. Stiffer and Bella, now elderly, missed their son dearly but chose not to burden him. Stiffer often sat in his workshop, staring at a dusty photo of George on graduation day. Meanwhile, Bella busied herself with knitting, her heart silently yearning for a call. One day, George's company received a prestigious industry award. During media interviews, he spoke proudly of his journey. But when asked about his parents, he hesitated. A wave of guilt washed over him. He hadn't mentioned them in years. That evening, as George prepared for the awards ceremony, he stumbled upon an old wooden box in his storage. Inside were treasures of his childhood, a hand-carved toy Stiffer had made, a scarf knitted by Bella, and a note he had written as a child that read, "I'll make you proud, Mom and Dad." The memories overwhelmed him. In that moment, George realized he had been so consumed by success that he had neglected the very people who were the foundation of it. Without a second thought, George canceled his plans for the ceremony. Instead, he drove back to the village that very night. When he arrived, the house was dimly lit. Stiffer was dozing in his chair, and Bella was stirring soup in the kitchen. "Mom? Dad?" George called softly. Bella dropped her spoon, her eyes wide in shock, and Stiffer rubbed his eyes, thinking he was dreaming. When they realized it was truly George, they embraced him tightly, tears streaming down their faces. "I'm sorry," George said, his voice breaking. "I got so caught up in my world that I forgot where I came from. I forgot the sacrifices you made for me." Stiffer patted his son's back gently. "Son, success is meaningless if you forget the people who helped you get there. But you've come back, and that's what matters." From that day forward, George vowed never to let his parents feel forgotten again. He visited them often, brought them to live with him during the colder months, and ensured they were an integral part of his life. At the next award ceremony, George proudly brought his parents as his guests of honor. Standing on stage, he said, "This award is not just mine. It belongs to my parents, who stood by me through every hardship. They taught me the true meaning of love and perseverance. Success means nothing without gratitude." The crowd erupted in applause, but George's eyes were only on his parents, whose faces glowed with pride. From then on, George was not just a successful man but a son who cherished where he came from. Success may bring you to great heights, but never forget the hands that lifted you. Respect and cherish your parents. They stood by you in your hardest times and deserve to share in your brightest moments.